Hello, everybody. Welcome to Profiling Evil Live. Sorry, I have been just racing today, just finished with Court TV and wanted to spend a minute with you. I usually try to just cut a little video and put it up, but tonight had a couple of complications and wanted to share some information. Looks like a few people are starting to come in now, and we'll take a minute. Drowsy Doll, how you doing? That's a great name, especially for this late at night. And sorry, everyone, for going on so late. I wanted to go earlier, but again, I've been on Court TV this evening, and we'll just move forward. Thanks so much for joining. I thought it would be interesting for you to maybe recap. There's been so much chatter going on today, and there's been a lot of discussion around Summer Wells. There's been a lot of discussion today about Maya Millette, and tonight some big things happened on Court TV that I wanted to share. In fact, what I did is I just, after we were finished, I reached out to Maya's family and I said, why don't you just come on with me and let's just chat. So we're going to have Maya's family come on. You know, folks, I do this very often. You know me, I just kind of try to keep it a little more based on what's happening in the public. I don't talk about things or speculate too much, although I've been known to do that. But tonight I thought there would be a couple of interesting things to talk about. I also want to answer your question. I got the back office here, and they're going to be watching your questions, so please put them up. We're going to try to keep this pretty informal tonight. And we'll just go for a few minutes, or we'll go kind of long, depending on what you want to do. You know me, usually long is like 30 minutes or so. So we'll see how things are going. Kathy M., hello. Peggy Newman, hello. Alavera, great to see your name popping up. Diane Phoenix, thank you. Mrs. Kojak, great to see you all popping in. So tonight was kind of an interesting night on Court TV, and I think you all have probably been on YouTube quite a long time tonight, so I don't want to belabor things, but the first show that we did, Vinny had me and we on, and we were talking about the things that have happened with Summer Wells' brothers, and hopefully most of you caught my video earlier today on what this all means. And I want to try to answer your questions if some of you pop those up. And again, I want to thank you all for joining. Again, it's late at night and I usually don't do this, but there are a couple of interesting things with the children being taken into protective custody. A couple of things that I'm not hearing a lot of people talk about, but I was on tonight again with Vinny on Court TV and had the reporter from News 11, which is doing all of the local news in Tennessee. And she and I were discussing some different intricacies of the case. One thing that I have found really intriguing is that this opportunity to have the children, the boys, in protective custody, from my perspective, is giving law enforcement and forensic psychologists and forensic examiners an opportunity to really solidify what the boys may or may not have seen on the day that Summer disappeared. And that's really important because we keep going down all these different rabbit holes about what is possible. And, you know, I just think we need to keep going back to ground zero, the home, and resolve first and foremost some questions. For instance, many of you are concerned that perhaps Summer was deceased before she ever reached the house, that something happened at the swimming pool. Certainly a valid question and discussion point. Some of you think that she may have there may have been someone already in the home who was a predator of some kind or another. Incredibly valuable. There are questions surrounding whether Summer went into the house and then into the basement, and could she have wandered off? And again, those are all valid. But this is why it's so important that these boys are in custody right now, where a forensic examiner can really talk to them individually and cumulatively, because here we can start to get a sense of what really they do remember. Do they really remember Summer Wells walking into the house after playing outside while her grandmother and mother were planting flowers? Do they really remember her coming in and going downstairs like it's been reported? That piece alone is huge, because if they can solidify the fact that they were in fact in the home, or that she was in the home, then they're gonna be able to at least say the swimming pool's out, and the boys are going to be able to testify about whether there was this unknown predator that people keep talking about out. So that's a biggie. Now, we still got to go back to the question of why did the children get put into protective custody? And I don't know the answer of that, other than Don has mentioned through testimony now in the public that he had started drinking. He started drinking because he said a government official, probably law enforcement, accused him of potentially sending Summer out with drug dealers in exchange for narcotics. He says that put him into a funk, and he started drinking. And I talked to Jennifer over at J for Justice, and I really appreciate the work she did in getting that information from Don. She was the first to get that new piece of information and to verify that the children were gone. I personally wanted to wait until it publicly became available. Again, I don't know if law enforcement had some angle they were trying to work, and so I hope that that waiting was the right thing to do. But it's really important that we consider all of those kinds of things when we think about those girls, or about Summer and the boys, and the value that they're going to play in this whole thing. Now, we continued on in the discussion about what else was covered in the hearing itself, and the reporter said that, again, she wasn't allowed into that hearing, and as in all child issues, we don't get that information. But this is good news that the boys are there. I also think personally it's probably a relief to both Don and Candace, who, if in fact they are victim parents, they have their plate full trying to find Summer, trying to deal with all of the emotion that's going on. Now, we saw that they have gotten a lawyer, and apparently that's been confirmed by the media that they do have a lawyer. I haven't heard them say that they've lawyered up. I know that they still are talking to people. I think Chris had them on tonight, or had Dawn on for a few moments. They certainly have not received counsel from our lawyer to not talk to people, which frankly is what they shouldn't be doing. They should be working directly with law enforcement, but we haven't seen them lawyer up. That's positive in my book. And hopefully if they do have a lawyer, that lawyer is helping them to navigate this process and continuing to keep them in front of law enforcement. We also talked about the fact that you can either believe or disbelieve whether the tears coming down Candace's face during the prayer vigil yesterday were real or theatrics. And we talked about the fact that sometimes it's easy to produce tears, but to do that nose running is more of a physiological response that's hard to just drum up on your own. That caused me to think that there's a little truth to the emotion there. So we're going to continue to watch that. I appreciate all that Vinny did in bringing that case out in front, the chance that I've had to collaborate with him, other experts, and with the media in that case has been really helpful. Just as we finished that particular case, we shifted over to talk about the Maya Millette case. And in that particular segment, we talked about the fact that the gun violence restraining order has now been made public. And there were a couple of key things there. But I think rather than me just yammering about it, I want to bring in Richard and Mary Chris Druliette, and this is Maya's sister and Maya's brother-in-law, and I want to just have a little discussion with them. So, how are you two tonight? We've had a busy night, haven't we?
Yes, we have, Mike. Thank you for having us.
Well, I'm just thrilled that you were able to take a little bit of time. I thought there were a couple of interesting things that we covered. And, I look back, I mean, we've been going over this case between the three of us and Vinny and other experts since January 7th when Maya disappeared. And I have told you over and over again how incredibly proud and how much I stand in awe of what you have done. I wanted to recap a couple things that I thought were kind of interesting in the gun violence restraining order that came out. And number one was, again, this discussion that Larry had purchased more weapons from the time Maya disappeared until the weapons were seized. Did you find that troubling, Richard? What was your thought on that?
Yeah, it's a little surprising that he's more worried about having guns than looking for his wife. That's that's a big red flag for me personally. I mean, if my wife went missing, the last thing I would be doing is buying stuff. I don't know. I'd be out there searching, leading the searches, asking people for help, cooperating with the police department, looking for my wife. He's doing everything backwards. He hasn't done anything actually.
Yeah, that's really the troubling part, isn't it, Mary Chris? Is that you two continue to charge forward. I don't know that there's been a weekend that hasn't had an organized search somewhere. And Larry, the husband to Maya, has never joined a one.
No, not at all. Unfortunately, we've been asking him, publicly to come and join us. So maybe be able to help us in a way. If he says, there's nobody that's going to be taking the kids, he has his mom and dad that be able to help him out, and I'll have my parents, be able to take care of the kids. Which they have done that numerous times when nobody be able to take care, of their kids. So we've been asking him to just please come and join us, help us search for Maya, but unfortunately, he haven't done anything at all. He haven't stepped up at all.
Yeah, I was really troubled by that, Richard, especially when I read the statement that he put in Fox in San Diego just 2 days ago, I think it was, where he talked about my children are doing great. I'm taking great care of them. And yet, think about the emotional impact on your nieces and nephews, right? And niece.
Yeah. Nephew and my two nieces, all two nieces. Yeah.
Yeah. And just the impact. I mean, they've lost Maya, and now they're stripped of the family and the support system that you and grandma and grandpa and others would bring. How's that impacted you as a dad?
Exactly. He just circles everything around him. He's the victim, right? Because that's what he wants everybody to think, that the kids are fine, but deep down, the kids miss my wife's side of the family. We have how many cousins, nephews? How many cousins are they not seeing every all the holidays, all the birthdays that pass by? I don't know how to, I wish we could see him and talk to him, but yeah, I don't know how he could say that, saying that they're perfectly fine. They're not fine. They're missing a big part of their life.
I agree. And Mary Chris, I think about I don't know if it was last week when we were on Court TV, but you were talking about the fact that as a family, you've committed, we're not going to go in and question the children or put pressure on them to tell us things. We just want to be a part of their life and help them through a really critical time in their life.
Exactly. That's what we've just been wanting to do. Just, be family again. Just show them how much, we love them, and despite, their mom missing, that we are still here, their side of the family, where we almost spend, almost every other weekend together. They're in our house almost every month, playing with their cousins, and they're playing with their cousins, in their phone almost every day, playing games of, almost every day, and to the point where there's no communication at all, not not even saying hi to them, or physically touch them or anything. It's just been heartbreaking for the whole family.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. One of the reasons why I feel so strongly about my association with Vinny and Court TV is because he also is always very cautious about kind of warning you. Now, let's not go too far and say something that law enforcement might need, or that you know that nobody else knows, and it needs to remain quiet. But I know that something really cool happened in the last month or so, and that is that you started getting more regular contact and more regular meetings scheduled with the police department, and that you're starting to have a much stronger communication process going on. How's that worked out?
It's been doing really well. I mean, they, did open that line of communication, with us, and kudos to props to Lieutenant Dan Pick. If there's anything that's any updating that needed to be, called to us, he always do that. Even late at night, he'll give us a heads up. So it's doing well.
Oh, that's great. One of the things we explored tonight a little bit, Richard, that I thought was interesting, and I think is good for people to know, in regard to this huge weapon collection that Larry had, the photographs that have really kind of frustrated the public as they've looked at him, because of your nephew at 4 years old standing in the middle of the weapons, the thousands of rounds of ammunition that were there, and the passports. None of this has to do with issues about gun ownership or anything else. It's all about this behavior in totality. And we talked about the risks or fears that he might flee, because that's one of the concerns that police had when they first did the search warrant, was they wanted to make sure that Larry wasn't aware that gun violence restraining order was going to happen, because they didn't want to risk him either getting in a barricaded position and having a shootout with police, or disappearing with the children and heading over the border. We talked a little tonight about that. I don't know, you want to recap any of that and any of your feelings on that?
Well, I mean, the gun stuff, I really don't care about the gun stuff. It's the kids' safety that we're concerned. My nephew, yeah, he was in that picture, and Larry stated that he took that picture early to 2020, sometime in January, February. I'm not sure what date he said, but if I had a 4-year-old son, he wouldn't be around my guns. Hey, everything's locked up and safe, and they don't have combinations to that. My kids are older now, but yeah, I just wouldn't be taking pictures at all, for no reason. There shouldn't be any reason a 4-year should be around guns. I know he says that he has training, that he trained his son and some safety courses or whatever, but he's only 4 years old, man. How much
Yeah.
can you take on at 4 years old?
And I don't know, have you ever given your 4-year-old children, or 10-year-old children, or 15-year-old children combinations to the safe that loaded with guns?
No, it doesn't make any sense. But like he said, like when I first stated, the kids' safety is our concern. We miss them tremendously. I know my father-in-law, my mother-in-law cry every day, missing their kids, and especially missing their daughter. That's the main concerns there. The kids, the safety of the kids. And where's your wife, Larry?
Yeah.
Come and help us.
Mary Chris, have you ever had a chance to talk with Larry's parents? There's a responsibility as a parent to stand behind your child, but also to make sure there's accountability. And of course, as your children get older, you can't control like you can when they're younger. But have you had a chance to sit down with them and just get a sense of where they are?
Honestly, I did talk to his dad at the beginning, but it just didn't, like, there's I just didn't like the way, he was talking about my sister, and I think I just gonna delete. I'll leave it that way. And we didn't really have that like good communication with his parents. Anyways, we don't, like go out with them like almost, every month or anything like that. So when we do have a get together, they don't come. It will be just, Larry, my sister, and the kids. So, um, within a year, we probably just, have a communication with his parents maybe once or twice or maybe three times on occasion. So, you know, um, again, that, um,
There was really not that much community.
yeah.
The connection wasn't there with them, and
Mhm.
it was the Tabalanza family pretty much pushing the holidays and the birthdays together. That was like the Tabalanza family are really tight, in which it's a good thing for the kid,
Oh man, I'll
right?
say, yeah, and I just have been so impressed with your family, and I'm just really grateful for the chance had to become your friend. One of the things that I found interesting tonight was that we learned something new, and that was, if I understood this correctly, and this is why I wanted to have you on rather than me just reporting something that maybe was incorrect. You mentioned that Maya had actually filed for divorce on the day she disappeared.
Yes. Yeah. We did. I think it was. I guess because since the beginning, it's been publicly known that she, on that day that she disappeared, or the last time we heard from her, which is January 7th, she actually filled out the paperwork online, and submitted it to the divorce lawyer. She didn't meet with the divorce lawyer, but she had a scheduled meeting with the lawyer the following Tuesday. So she wants her daughter's birthday, to finish, because that's her daughter's weekend birthday celebration. So she wants to finish that first, have her birthday being celebrated, and then go to the divorce lawyer, because we were gonna be out of town. They're coming back Monday, and so her divorce scheduled I mean divorce yeah, schedule with the divorce lawyer is Tuesday. Sorry.
Okay, so this is really important, because you frankly, um, you stumped the dummies tonight. All three of us on the panel, as we were talking on the show when that came out, were really surprised by that, and it's an incredibly important piece of information, because if in fact, Richard, your assessment of the control that Larry would exhibit over Maya was accurate, then the demand to constantly call and check in and other kinds of things, then it becomes really conceivable that there were strategies in place to be able to see what she was socializing on Facebook or other places, or to be getting her email and seeing when she's doing things. Is there anything that you're aware of that he was able to come to the knowledge that the paperwork had been filed before any of this happened and she disappeared?
Man, we're not 100% sure on that one. We don't know if he found out of it about her filing those papers that Thursday.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We're not. He could have maybe, since he was, he put a tracker on her vehicle to find out where she was at. I mean, this is like last year. He was just. It had built up so bad last year that he could have known. Yeah, he could have known that she filed papers.
Did she ever have any suspicions that he was reading her email or had access to her passwords and was getting into her Facebook accounts and stuff? And can you talk about that, Mary Chris?
I'm not sure if it's even,
Yeah, I don't think we can talk about that, Mike. I'm
Yeah, let's
sorry.
chat about
Yeah,
something else.
let's not.
I'll,
I don't
I
want to
think,
say something wrong, and
I think we do have it publicly to know that when my after a few weeks when my sister went missing, Larry was able to get into her Facebook account. So and then that's when it started to get rid of all the pictures that she has on her Facebook. He started deleting all those on the Facebook. He started to unfriend or blocked, you know, my other sister. Then he started to block some of her best friend, Maya's best friend. So he started doing that with her Facebook account.
So yeah,
So that's I think that's a public knowledge too. So
And
I
that's
think
a
that was
very
important.
big indicator, isn't it? That the possibilities are certainly there that
right.
could have discovered what her plans were before that. This was so important that this is why I wanted to go live tonight and get you on for a couple of minutes, because we were so rushed on the big program, and I didn't want it floating out there that she had filed, because that's an actual court procedure of filing, but she had submitted the paperwork, which puts all the intent on the table. And it certainly makes good sense because of the big vacation trip to Big Bear. And I've been there. What a beautiful lake and area that is. My office is very near to that, by the way. And it all starts putting together some really important pieces of the puzzle as we think about always these ideas of means, motive, and opportunity. So I wanted to get that clear, that in reality, it was the submission of the papers to her lawyer that she planned on meeting after the birthday trip to Big Bear, but that she submitted all the papers so that they could be filed the following week.
Right.
Good.
Yes.
I'm glad we cleared that up, because I hope others who will listen in or may have heard what we said tonight get that story straight, so we don't spin off some wild tale. There are so many people that have never met you or your family, but love you and pray for you. Is there anything you
Thank
want to
you.
say
Thank
to
you,
them
guys.
as we get ready to kind of wrap things up? And if you don't mind, I'm going to ask the back office and tell people, if you have a question for Mary Chris or Richard, would you answer a couple of questions, those that you can?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
if we can legally do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's keep out of trouble, because we don't want the local police to be writing you traffic tickets because you mess something up. So, folks, if you have a question in regard to the case, please put it up. We'll give you a couple of minutes to get those up, and then we're going to call it a night. But what would you want to say to folks?
Well, we always, say a million thanks to, everyone that's been supporting us, helping and supporting us since the beginning, and all the prayers that's coming our way around the world. It just gives us the strength to keep on going and to keep on moving, and, to keep on searching for my sister. So, again, we, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much. And again, with you, Mike, and all the media outlets too, we thank them for their continued coverage on my sister Maya, and still keeping her name on the spotlight. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, Richard, before you answer, I want to just say there's a question, Mary Chris, maybe you can answer. Who first told you that Maya was missing?
We haven't, that Thursday, January 7th. Well, again, she's always online. January 7th, that night. We haven't heard anything from her. It looked like she was offline. And again, it's because that Thursday night we were kind of like suspicious that something probably is happening, but of course they've been fighting, so we didn't thought of it that much. And then Friday, the following day, she's offline all day, so that worries the whole family. And then so that's how it started. It started Friday. We my brother JR went to check on her Friday night, and he thought Larry said that, she's in her room all day, so he didn't bother checking. My brother didn't bother checking on her. And then so Saturday they said she haven't come down yet. We haven't heard from her all day Saturday, and then that got us really worried. Then I drove to San Diego. That's when she haven't came home, or she's haven't been found, or she's been missing then. And then that's how we found out we haven't heard from her since then.
Friday was the main day we all got worried.
Yeah.
Richard, we've talked about this. I don't want you to answer this question until someday down the line after this thing is solved. But at one point, I want you to tell everyone what your first thought was when you started piecing some things together, and we'll talk about that when the time is right. Richard, what would you say to this amazing group of world family that you now have?
Yeah, like my wife said, we thank him. We thank everybody. You guys are amazing people, and this world, there's a lot of great people. We just continue praying for the Tabalanza family, and please continue praying for the kids' safety. I have nightmares at night, and I miss them, and she cries at night. She wakes up crying because the kids, the birthdays that passed by. It was our little niece's birthday a few weeks ago, and we couldn't see her. We stopped by and gave some balloons in front of the house, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I can't imagine what my wife's parents are going through.
Yeah.
So just continue supporting the family any way you can. There's a website. There's financially, we are broken financially. I hate saying that, but it's taking a toll on everybody. So if you guys can donate to the family, that would be great for search efforts, for food and water and snacks for the searchers.
And Richard, what is the best place for donations? Is it through the Facebook page which directs them back, or is it through that website?
It's HelpFindMaya.
HelpFindMaya.com, and then all the information is there. We do have a GoFundMe and a Memoir account, but we, anything we appreciate.
Yeah. We truly do need it, and we truly do thank everybody, Mike, everybody at CourtTV, and obviously we have a whole police department to thank, and a whole city to thank, the whole world to thank. We can never thank enough. So
hundreds of volunteers that you've gotten every weekend. I mean, it just is remarkable. So folks, please consider this and help out. And I've seen some amazing people jump on. So both of you, I want you to know there are some compassionate, loving people that are on listening tonight. You are doing the best thing that you can do. You could be out every night walking somewhere, but the fact that you are working the social side of this and the media side of it is going to get more people looking and hoping and praying, and cumulatively, our hope is that those prayers result in finding answers. Some families never do, and that's so tragic. Think about the pain that you have felt. We talked about this, I think, a few weeks ago, didn't we, where the numbers are absolutely astronomical. How many families every year go through the exact thing that you're going through, and yet they continue on, and so I just I think it's wonderful. And Mary Chris, I don't know if you caught that one, how photographic you absolutely are. Richard, you scored above your pay grade.
Thank you, Mike.
It's wonderful, and it's nice to see people popping in. Sergeant Melinda, it's great to see you popping in. I haven't seen you for a bit, and we haven't talked for a while. But to all of you from Profiling Evil, I want to just say thank you. And in behalf of Richard and Mary Chris, I want to say thank you. Most importantly tonight, just because I get this rare privilege on an absolute regular basis to sit with Vinny and look at some of these cold cases on Court TV, I want to thank him because his heart is gold. And you have had the privilege of getting to know him one-on-one as I have. And it is just, what you see there is what you get. And he is concerned about you and looks forward to having his show, which is a much bigger audience than we have, influence positively the tips and leads that are coming in. Now, is there a tip line that people should call, or just call the Chula Vista Police Department if they know anything?
Right. It's always been the Chula Vista Police Department that we've been putting it out there.
All right. Well, we went longer than the 10 minutes I promised you. I hope you'll give me a forgiveness button and we can get you back again. And let's just continue to monitor this. And I'm sure I'll probably be with you again on Court TV, but we'll get you back here one evening to talk a little more. Know how much we love and admire you for your strength.
Oh, thank you so much. We're doing this for my sister, and as Richard said, as long as we're breathing, we'll bring her home. We'll try. We'll do our best to bring her home.
You know what? The best thing is when you get that opportunity, or if it never comes, you will know you did everything you could. And I promise you'll meet again one day, and you'll be able to look at her with a big old smile on your face and say, we just did everything we could. So
thank you, Mike. Thank you so much.
Take care, and to everyone from the Profiling Evil family, thank you so much. We'll see you soon, and have a great evening.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.